Well, there's a Green Lantern in the Superman movie. But which Green Lantern is it, and why does his hair look so bad? Turns out it's Guy Gardner, and none other than Nathan Fillion is donning the green suit for James Gunn's Superman. Being that he's a friend of Gunn in real life, he often appears in his movies. He even appeared in Gunn's earlier DC universe as joke character the Detachable Kid in the Suicide Squad. But this casting choice has a lot of history behind it, even beyond that personal connection. In the early 2000s, Nathan Fillion was a popular choice to play Hal Jordan in a Green Lantern film. People even made fan trailers with Fillion in the role. Of course, the actual Green Lantern film starred Ryan Reynolds as Hal instead. And that turned out to be, yeah, we don't even need to talk about it.
Your constructs are only gonna be as strong as your will, and your will is pathetic.
This fan casting did help Fillion get the role voicing the more well-known Lantern Hal Jordan in several animated DC films though. That started with Green Lantern Emerald Knights, an anthology released alongside the live-action film as a tie-in. As many of us comic fans know, Guy Gardner is usually a supporting character or part of an ensemble. He's also typically the B-Lantern compared to Hal Jordan or John Stewart, but he still has a storied comic history. He's famous not just for his ginger bowl cut and unique costume, but also for his short temper and obnoxiousness. And that's why Fillion playing Gardner makes a ton of sense. He excels at playing funny jackasses, and Gunn, who's been working with him for a long time, definitely understands that. Guy Gardner debuted in 1968's Green Lantern number 59, 9 years after the first appearance of Hal Jordan. In the story, we see Hal watch a video simulation of what would have happened if the dying Lantern Abin Sur hadn't given his ring to him. In this alternate timeline, Gardner becomes Earth's Green Lantern instead, and has the same adventures Hal did. Guy ultimately dies himself, and then Hal receives the ring. Hal muses that fate destined him to be a Green Lantern, right before he meets the real Guy Gardner. This initial Guy is basically a copy of Hal Jordan, only with red hair. He even wears the same costume, and his name belies his paper thinness. His first name is literally Guy, and it's alliterative, like a classic superhero name. It was only in the 80s that the Guy Gardner we know came about. They not only turned him into a full-time Green Lantern, starting from issue number 195, but they remade him into the angry, punchable hero fans now know and love. Conceived as a parody of the all-American Jarhead, the reimagined Guy worshipped Saint Ronnie and fancied himself like Sylvester Stallone as Rambo, Rambo 3 specifically. In Green Lantern Corps number 210, Guy even tries to invade the Soviet Union. In the 40 years since, Gardner has become shorthand for a-hole in the DC universe. When Batman is documenting his contingency plans, should any of his Justice League teammates go rogue, see JLA Tower of Babel, he half jokes he should test out the Green Lantern plan on Guy. In the Young Justice episode Agendas, the Justice League is considering new members. Both Hal Jordan and John Stewart quite insistently say no to Guy Gardner's nomination.
Still, we could always use more raw power. And Earth has a third Green Lantern, Guy Gardner.
No.
But we could really...
No.
Guy Gardner was originally set to be a lead of the upcoming Lantern series at one point. However, the reshuffling of DC Studios under James Gunn and Peter Safran put this take on the show out to pasture. Hal Jordan and John Stewart are set to be the dual leads, played by Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre respectively. Nonetheless, we think we know why Gunn still wants to use Guy Gardner. James Gunn has cited artist Kevin Maguire as an influence on the DCU. Maguire's most famous DC work is also Guy Gardner's most remembered role, namely the 1980s run on Justice League, commonly known as Justice League International. When this run launched, the creative team couldn't use most of DC's A-list heroes, except for Batman. That meant a team made of mostly B and C stringers. Still, it worked, thanks to strong characterization and comedy. Guy Gardner is one of the keystone characters of this run. He's front and center on Maguire's now famous cover of issue number 1, and the character who first appears within the issue. Throughout the run, he often chafes against the stodgy Batman, and eventually hooks up with Ice. Gunn's Superman introduces not only Fillion as Guy, but also Sean Gunn as Maxwell Lord, the JLI's civilian benefactor. Why is Gunn pulling from this Justice League run? Easy, it's his kind of superhero story. The team behind the comics took a cast of obscure characters and spun gold, mixing a goofy tone with sincere heart. This is exactly what Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad, and we can't wait to see how he adapts this tone to Superman.